Well, hey there and hello. Before I start my lesson today, I want to do a little brag about my wife and what she just accomplished. I mean, oh my goodness. There's something we got in the mail delivered in the last couple days that every time I walk by it, I just got, I just got tickled about it. Excuse me. What it was is she got her first two copies of the book she just published. And one was hard copy and one was soft copy, and I really wanted to like bring it up to the screen and show it to you. But when we told our friends about it, a couple of them bought them right out of our hands, so I haven't even had a chance to look through it yet. So anyhow, just really excited about it. I'm very proud of what she has accomplished. So anyhow, she just published her second book, so she's had two. And this one is called Unraveling Resiliency, The Journey from Trauma to Therapist. And again, it's both hard copy and soft copy. You can get them on places like Amazon and all other places. I'll put the link down below. But anyhow, it's just so exciting because I know all the things she's accomplished, and this is kind of like the icing on the cake for her. She's written one other book before, and I'll tell you what that is in a second. But anyhow, this book, we just received a version this last week. I was going to hold it up, like I said. How our friends bought it from us immediately. It was just unbelievable because we were just telling them about the book, and they go, "Really?" It practically ripped it from our hands. So her second book is called, or I'm sorry, her first book is called Becki Justbecki, A Glimpse Inside of My Bag of Abuse. She published that about 10 years ago. And I've been encouraging her to do a second book for a long time, and she just did, and it's just really exciting. I'll put the links in the description if you're interested in exploring her work. These books are about overcoming adversity and building strength and growth. I mean, she's been through a lot and she's accomplished a lot. And if you read them, I hope you find them very helpful. But I'm really proud of what she's accomplished. What's her resume look like? Well, anyhow, she's also a licensed holistic healthcare practitioner. She's earned a bachelor's degree and 2 masters. Now she's a licensed psychotherapist. And all of these things she's accomplished since she's lost her vision. She's lost her sight. She's basically legally blind, has very little vision left, and she's done all these things. How? How has she done this? Well, it's really hard for me to answer, but she's driven. She really is. There's a couple reasons why she's done all these things is because if you read her books or if you know her, you know about her life. Number one is proving all of her doubters wrong. People that told her that she wasn't going to amount to anything, the doubts that she had. And that was her way of overcoming all of that. Another reason is that her purpose has been pushing its way out for years. And what she's doing now, I call her a healer because she's a therapist. But anyhow, everything she's done has been in that line of work. Teaching, speaking, encouraging, helping. I mean, all these things. That's who she is. Before she lost her vision, she also was, her purpose was trying to poke itself out of her. A lot of things she did were in line with it, but not 100%, if you know what I mean. She, before she lost her vision, she became a certified personal trainer and fitness instructor. This was the first time I realized she was gravitating towards what she was really meant to do. She loved what she did. She really did. She taught regular classes at her home club, and she offered to sub classes all around the area. She had what I called an entourage, and this just blew my mind. These women would show up at every class she taught. And if she subbed and went to another club, they would find out where she is. I guess on the web you could look, scan classes by name. And they would show up at every class, no matter how far away it was. They would be there. On one occasion, she taught at a club that I used to play racquetball at years ago. And over time, racquetball's kind of lost its appeal, I guess. And so they converted a lot of these racquetball courts into classrooms for doing group exercises. And so I went with her, and it's a two-story club. The top story, just like the bottom story, would have different equipment that you could use to exercise with, treadmills, free weights, weight machines, things like that. So I went with her to work out, and I didn't feel like doing the aerobic thing. I wanted to do my own thing. And so I took a break, and this club had a catwalk. And it was part of the second story, so I walked out there. It was so that people could watch people playing racquetball, but now they had a couple of them put together for a basketball court and then all these different training rooms. Well, between the catwalk and the classrooms down below, or the training rooms, I should say, they had plexiglass. So I really couldn't hear the conversations that were going on down below, but I could look at what's going on. And it was so loud with all the different classes going on, I just heard noise. And she would walk around the room and help people with their form, and they're doing their exercises, answering questions, the whole bit. But the whole time she was in the classroom teaching in there, she had a grin from ear to ear. It was, I've only seen that one other time. But she was in where she was supposed to be. She was in her zone, in her element, in her flow. It wasn't just a job, it was a calling for her. I mean, truly, it was really a calling for her. She wasn't just teaching class to get a paycheck. Although she was getting paid, that wasn't her biggest motivation, because she got into that field because she wanted to do it. So anyhow, it really warmed my heart to watch her do that. Now, besides bragging about what she's accomplished, this book, I just can't wait to read it. Everything I've heard about it is really good. The reason why I'm saying it's like a mystery to me, because I think only a couple things she actually asked me to look at a paragraph and check out if the wording made sense or not. I haven't read it yet. But anywho, besides bragging about another published book, and it's going to go big, I think, I want to tell you, it's not just about her story. It flows into the topic I want to talk about. I was planning to record already. It's about our why. It's about our purpose. What really drives us is our why. Simon Sinek, and I'll spell his name for you, and it's also in the link down below, Simon, Simon Sinek, Sinek. He studied this in depth and explains it very well, why your why is important. Basically, it comes down to this. If you really want to know why you or someone else does anything, just keep asking why. And that's one of the exercises I remember he went through when I was watching his videos. And keep doing that if they'll let you, or if you'll let yourself doing it, till you run out of answers. The last answer is your why. It's the last answer, and it'll give you an idea of what is your motivation, what is your purpose, what is your grounding, what is your foundation for everything you do. A lot of times it's subconscious, and this will make it conscious for you. As a side note, and I was a curious kid. When I was a kid, I drove the adults around me crazy doing this. And it wasn't just because I wanted to be a pest. It's because I really wanted to understand things. I was one of those kids that took things apart, try to figure out how they tick. But I wanted to understand reasoning, why people had certain answers to things. And as you know, if you're a parent, or if you're someone like me, the most common answer, at least when in my generation, was because I said so. But anyhow, it helped you figure out what the why is, why things are done. When you find the why, then you can find the place where our basic motivation, our purpose lies. So why do we do anything? I mean, what's our motivation? What's our reasons? Things like that. What's the reward or payback? For many of us, it's just the money. And I don't mean to minimize the money. Money is our our fuel for our lives. It, buys the food, pays the utilities, it pays our car payment, our rent, our mortgage. It's how we live. It's our ability to live. But it's not the only reason, because it's not sustainable. In my lifetime, I've done a lot of things and made to make money. Some I made a lot of money doing, some things I made a little money doing, some things I lost a lot of money doing. But every job I learned a lot, especially I learned about myself. Things like, what I'm good at, what I enjoy, what I don't want to do again. I've had a lot of those jobs. And there's jobs to where the only thing is driving me to show up and work is the money, is the paycheck every 2 weeks or every week. It's not sustainable. Why? Because there's no satisfaction. If they remove that money element, people would walk. I'd walk, because I'm not there for anything besides the paycheck. So, but to make our work sustainable, what helps us get out of bed in the morning and go is we need to tap into our purpose, our why. The jobs and my passions for me, my why, always revolved around leaving people in a better place than I found them. And what that means is that I'm just not doing the basic service. I'm not serving up the hamburger or whatever. That's a more routine thing. It's a maintenance thing. You're maintaining things. I always wanted to do something better, leave them any way I could at a better place. And I got a lot of stories about that, but I'm not going to go into that on this video. In my collegiate education, it revolved around medicine and psychology. My first major was pre-med. I wanted to become a physician. And then I changed my majors because I found some things in the medical field that I didn't really like and I didn't really want to be involved in. Excuse me. So I thought, what can I do that I can still help people? And then psychology popped in my head, and I did really well in those classes. I got a degree with high letters of recommendations. I got A's, I got high test scores, a whole bit. But the thing I realized over time is both those, medicine and psychology, they're pathology oriented. And what I mean by that is they look at people in a way that looks for the problem, the disease, as it were. Medicine and psychology, back then, it was about bringing people from a sick place into a healthy place or a normal place. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what my wife does. She does a really good job at it. But outside the classroom, things that I did were like tutoring and teaching and coaching. And that was a little bit different angle on working with other human beings. And it was about growth. It was about success. It was about independence. It was about taking somebody wherever they were at and raising them up, not curing them, not healing them, but taking them from where they are and taking them to a higher level. And I'll tell you, that's where it is for me. Now, doing these things, yes, there was pay. However, one of my paybacks for number one, solving puzzles. Let me go back to the tutoring thing. How can I help this person? When I first got into it, I wasn't really taught on how to tutor. I did it at the college, and they basically said, "Okay, you're good at math, right?" "Yeah, I'm good at math." And they said, "Well, there's people come in that need help with their math problems." Okay. And so I started learning how to explain to people what I knew how to do, to solve the problems, things like that. What is the solution? What's the real problem? What are they really struggling with to get that done? What's the solution? How can we figure out how to answer this math problem? And what type of approach would work for this person? Now, that's probably the one that is key here, because everybody learns differently. And at first, everybody was a novel situation to me. I mean, sure, I could talk about how to do statistics or algebra or calculus, whatever, because I've done it. I got taken those classes. But starting to learn how people thought and how they learned and how things made sense to them. I mean, the real basic thing is I remember the most basic student that I had was somebody who said, I'm not taking a class. I just came here to learn how to balance my checkbook because I don't know when I'm out of money. Well, back then you didn't have your phone and you didn't have the web and all that to go log onto your bank and see how you're doing. Back then it was basically once a month the bank would send you a statement and you have to reconcile your checkbook against that to make sure you didn't have any errors if someone overcharged you on something or whatever. Today, with a few clicks or a few touches on your phone, you can log in your bank and see what's cleared and what your pay's cleared, things like that. Back then, it was once a month you had to figure out where you were, and as you paid out checks or got cash out of the ATM, very simple stuff, you had to log that in your little book and figure out what your balance is. This one lady had no idea. I mean, she was practically in tears. So I had to learn, and she wasn't the most educated person. I don't even think she had a high school diploma. I had to go from the very, very, very basics to explain things, to bring her up to the level just to balance her checkbook. So I had to learn different ways of working with people. I had people that had dyslexia. I had people that had autism. I had people that had other ways how they approach things. Dyslexia was one of the biggest challenge because I really had to learn, and not everybody with dyslexia learns the same way still. I had to figure out a way to help them see things because I guess dyslexia, things turn around backwards. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I almost had to draw pictures to explain things to people. I wasn't taught how to do that. I just figured that out. So those are the things I had to do. So solving the problem, that was my number one thing that really motivated me because I really wanted to help the person, but I wanted to learn how to help them. The big one for me was celebrating my clients' successes. Like the lady that balancing her checkbook, when she came to me, she says, I got to figure it out. I can do it all by myself now. Thank you so much. And I went, yay, you can do that because, that's a big thing. If you don't know where your money is, you're going to get in trouble. And it's helping people passing or acing a test or a course, starting a side hustle, asking their boss for a raise, stepping outside their comfort zone. All those successes, whether they're large or small, those are the things that really drove me because seeing someone succeed, become independent, that would feel really good to me because the money's great, but that to me, that was my success. That was my cap and gown day that I graduated with them to get them to a new place to where they can actually have my help them get to where they want to go in their classes or whatever. What kept me going, like I said, when I was tutoring, I made really good money, were the frequent signs of appreciation I got from my clients, the emotional, tearful thank yous I'd receive. Yes, I even got some of those from the dudes. So anyhow, yeah, when someone really needs like a class, I need to do well in this class, I need to pass this class, I need to understand this material, because if I don't, I won't be able to graduate with this major, things like that. I mean, some of these things really were critical in their flow into graduating. If they couldn't figure out, like me, I had the same problem. When I took statistics the first time, I had a mental block. Excuse me. I couldn't figure out probability. I could do the problems fine. I just didn't understand what I was doing. And I literally was in tears. I thought, if I can't get statistics down, I can't graduate with my psych degree. I'm not going to do well on my GRE test. I'm not going to do doing research in graduate school. If I get into graduate school, I mean, I thought my life was over until I figured it out. A lot of people were like this. They would come to me. It's like, I really need to learn this stuff. But I also had a few people that said that they thanked me because they said, you saved my life. And like the story I just told you, if they couldn't get through a particular class, that meant they wouldn't be able to finish their major. They wouldn't. Their dreams were gone. I mean, there's some people that were fairly depressed that would come in and work with me, and so when they said I saved their lives, I finally learned what that meant. But that was really hard to take because I wasn't getting into the tutoring field to be a lifesaver. Let me tell you. But those are the kind of things that kept driving me, kept moving me forward, and they were the most. They gave me the meaning and sense of satisfaction doing that kind of stuff. Let's see what else we got here. When I tutored people or taught people, whatever I did or coached, I always try to take them to the next level. And what I mean by that is not by just learning the math, not by passing the test, but the skills I would try to teach them, because as a student myself, I knew it was important to get through school and life as well. A lot of skills. So not only do they show them or teach them how to solve a math problem and understand why it's important and what the purpose of it is not just memorization. There's a reason why you're learning how to do quadratic equations. There's a reason why you need to understand standard deviations, things like that. But I taught them a way to learn on their own. It's an independence thing. But these skills were also leverageable into other subjects, like how to study. What kind of things you to do. If you have trouble with memorization, I don't know what the younger people do nowadays. I haven't been involved in a long time, but back in the day, we made things called flashcards. Index cards. On one side you write like an equation or like define standard deviation. On the back is the answer, and you flip that back and forth until it gets drilled into your head. You memorize. It's pure memorization. Other things is like time management. Other things are like if you, like me, I have very short attention span. I get distracted easily and I get tired easily. And one is to time slice your time when you're studying. Sometimes you have to do 15 minutes of math, your brain's tired, okay? Then go on to another subject for 15 minutes, whatever. Do that kind of a thing to help you learn. If you sit in front of your book and try to do math and you're to the point where your brain's exhausted and you're still pushing, you're going to hate it, number one. And number two, nothing's going to seep in. So there's a lot of different skills for studying. I wanted to give them things that would last, not just a way to pass the test. So my third biggest motivator for doing this is the day or the time when I get contacted by a student and they say, I don't need you anymore. Because I wanted to work myself out of a job. I wanted them independent. It's like that whole thing about the baby bird flying away on its own. Same kind of a thing. I'd be happy to work with them from arithmetic all the way up to calculus and be their tutor that whole time. It's great. They still give me a check every time we meet. But that wasn't my goal. My goal was to help them to learn how to learn and to become independent. And that was my why. That was the big one, okay? And I do that with everything I do nowadays. I don't want to teach people and have them keep coming back for help. I want to teach them to where they can be independent and be successful. So if you already haven't done so, meaning finding your why, your flow, regardless of your age, where you are in your career, find your why. Like I said, go to the Simon Sinek website. He's published books on it, the whole bit. Find your why, your purpose, your meaning, whatever you want to call it. I call it the flow. We're all put here for a reason. We may be put here for more than one reason, but we're all put here for a reason. To find that reason, once you find it and start working towards it, things work better for your life. You have more meaning, satisfaction. You find a job or find a career that is more than just a paycheck. You get up Monday morning and you want to go to work or do whatever you do because you're getting something more out of it than a paycheck. It's part of you. You have your soul involved, your purpose. I mean, you are where you belong. You fit. Okay? It doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days. We're always going to have bad days. We always have challenges. But, think of the two extremes. On one side, the drudgery of getting up on a Monday morning, going to do a job you hate just so you can pay the rent. And that affects you and affects us all in bad ways. Depression, drug and alcohol use, all sorts of things, getting into trouble. Anyhow, so find your why, your purpose. And I will talk about that here to help you as well. But like I said, check out Simon. He's got some good stuff. And I call it the flow. I'm sure I didn't invent this. I'm sure that other people talk about it, but I call it the flow. Now, why do I call it the flow? Because I believe from my own experience and experience of others, when we find our why, our purpose, life tends to flow better. Okay, I kind of see it as being a river. Is that, if you're on an inner tube on a river, going downstream is very easy because the water's carrying you. Okay, if you're going against your flow, like trying to salmon going upstream, you're fighting it. It's effort. It's exhausting. But when you go with the flow of your life, things tend to work out better for you. There's kind of a gravity to it. There's a pull. Call it magnetism, whatever. The closer you get to your flow, you'll feel that pull towards it. That pull is a positive thing because it's trying to bring you into where you belong. And as you get into your flow, the more opportunities come your way. Let me give you a recent experience I had not too long ago. A job that I had, I was getting to the point to where it was taking a toll on my body, and it was kind of wearing me out, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And so I had nothing against the people. I love my boss, I love all my coworkers, the whole bit, but it was time to leave. So I gave them a month, 4 weeks notice. And I just said, I got to go. I really got to go. It's causing me grief, causing me physical pain. I got to go. So, and this wasn't anything I was asking to do. When I came back, one of the last times I came back, this is a job that I would come back and forth to. It wasn't like a permanent job. One of the times I applied for a manager's position because I thought, I could do that. That'd be fun. It'd pay more, and it's a way to broaden my experiences, and I didn't get that. So anyhow, as time went on, I realized, this is not what I want to do anymore, and I'm tired. So I gave my notice, and I was still within my 4 weeks, and another manager was let go. And I went, wow, he's been there since day one. And so it kind of, affected morale the whole bit. And then my boss calls me back and says, Don, this is something I think you could really do. I would like you to do blah, blah, blah for this person leaving. No training. I had no training on how to do this. Okay. So I had to do some poking around to learn how to get things done. He said, it's a part-time job, which I thought, great, because I don't want a full-time job. And, your pay would go up. And I thought, well, that's cool. And he says, just every week, let me know what your schedule is the next week. So it's flexible. I run my own schedule, the whole bit. And I wasn't looking for that. I was ready to leave, but an opportunity came across, and I had no competition. I was picked to do it because he knew the kind of work ethic I had, how I functioned with as a team with other people, the whole bit. He just said, this would be a perfect job, position for you. And I thought about it, and I came home, talked to my wife about it. She says, do it. So I did. I took it. And so, it was a growth experience. And I enjoyed a lot of what I did. It was better than what I was doing before, and it wasn't causing me physical pain. But the thing is that as you go with your flow, grow in your flow, opportunities come your way, answers or questions are answered. A lot of things can increase, including your income. What else? The satisfaction increases. It really does. But there's a pull to it. It makes things easier. And like I said before, and also the income. Not necessarily going into your flow, going into your purpose, will you get a raise? You know, you may have to take a cut in pay. But at the end of the day, the end of the week, how you feel about what you're doing, what you feel about yourself improves. So anyhow, I have a lot of examples of that's happened in my life. Let's see here. Let's get back to my wife for a minute, because I just love bragging about her. My wife found her flow. She's taken all of her experience and all she's learned with her therapy practice and all writing and helping, healing. I see what she's doing is she's a healer. And literally, she's also had those thank yous where someone said to her, you know, you saved my life. That's a big deal, you know. If someone comes to you and what you've done has helped them so much, I mean, they kept them here on this planet going forward. She knows that this is why she's been put here, and what she does gives her meaning and satisfaction. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's not just about having a good time. It's not just about making a buck, but it's doing something that's really meaningful to you, that fits you, and you fit it. So anyhow, that's all I'm going to say at this time. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you find your why. If I can help you with that, let me know. Live out your purpose and have the best life ever with meaning and satisfaction. I'm serious, man. I mean, if I could help somebody get to the next level and have a better life, oh, God, I love that. Anyhow, that's all I have for now. See you on the next video. Ciao.